All right, so this video we're going to be talking about non-duality. It's a little bit of a clickbaity kind of a title, which I acknowledge and I admit and I apologize for. But man, this is the biggest danger when it comes to non-duality. I've noticed, looking at different YouTube channels in the spiritual world, I've noticed all of these different non-duality channels. People talking about how they don't suffer anymore. People talking about how they've had non-dual awakenings. People talking about how they've achieved some kind of permanent non-dual state and discovered what it means to be happy. And they're all very charismatic and all very persuasive on camera. And while it is possible that many of these YouTubers, many of these people on YouTube talking about non-duality have in fact seen something real, have in fact seen something truly transcendent, it's so important that we don't get caught in this trap of conceptualization, conceptualizing about the spiritual path. And this is why I talk so much about meditation. This is why I emphasize meditation, because meditation, if we're actually practicing, it is impossible to bullshit ourselves. It's impossible to pretend that we're enlightened if we're an hour into our sitting period and our legs are on fire and we're struggling with the pain. If we were truly in a non-dual state, that would be equivalent to feeling bliss. That'd be equivalent to being completely at ease and peace. The amount of pain or pleasure or neutrality in sensory experience would not be couldn't impact the mind if the mind were truly self-realized and in contact with non-duality. Now, it's part of why this is so complicated is that there are degrees of non-duality. There's degrees of realization. There's degrees of recognition of the transcendent source of ultimate reality. And so it could be that many people that are talking about this on YouTube have in fact had legitimate glimpses, legitimate first awakening experiences. But it's so easy for the mind to overestimate the depth of its realization and then to conceptualize about its intellectual understanding of reality and superimpose that on top of its perceptive experience and fabricate a perception of non-duality that is in fact not authentic. And that's the real danger, is that we find a very persuasive non-dual teacher, or we ourselves think that we have realized, or perhaps have even to some degree realized non-duality, and we're vastly overestimating just how much we've seen. We're vastly overestimating just how much suffering we've let go of. If someone is not adamantly recommending spiritual practice and the hard work of maintaining relational integrity through our behavioral conduct, run away. Don't listen to them. And just take that on as a rule of thumb for yourself. Because if we don't do that, that is spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is the overestimation of one's spiritual realization as a defense mechanism against going into the deeper levels of the path. Both, again, through meditation, through like actual realization of ultimate reality, and through our behavioral conduct. It's so easy to mess this up, particularly being in the West, which I assume most people who are watching this content are, at least that's what my YouTube analytics tell me. But really, if we're intellectual at all, if we have powerful minds, which many of us do, if we're engaged in this kind of content, it's so easy for the mind to create a very rational, clear map of non-duality. And because many of us don't have the experience in meditation to see the subtleties and ways in which the mind contorts, manipulates, superimposes views onto reality, we don't see how these intellectual maps of non-duality can then literally superimpose onto our perceptive experience and distort our view, giving us a kind of mirage of realization that we then are trying to live from, but it's actually just another level of self-identification with ego. The ego has just turned itself into a non-dual troll, you could say. Or just somebody who like thinks they've really seen something. It's turned itself into the one who has seen something and pretends like it's free of self, when in fact it's not. There's still so much self-clinging, so much delusion still in the mind. And this is most readily expressed with how we're spending our time and how we're showing up in relationship with others. And most readily expressed in what is the quality of our meditation. So please be careful if you engage with non-dual content. It's not that it's all bad, and it's not that the, teachers, YouTubers who are talking about non-duality, it's not that they haven't seen something. It's very possible that they have. It's difficult to use this kind of language so fluently if you don't have some grasp of it in some way, shape, or form. But there is this danger that it's highly intellectual, that we've intellectualized non-duality. And most importantly, even if we do have some glimpse into the non-dual nature of reality, ultimate reality, the transcendent quality of the present moment, it's so important just to keep going. One of my teachers would say that today's enlightenment is tomorrow's mistake. Meaning that as deep as we are in any given moment, it doesn't actually matter tomorrow. What matters tomorrow is what we're doing tomorrow. And if we're self-referencing some big experience that we've had or some understanding that we've had in the past, it can be very dangerous in how it's distorting our present moment experience. And the way that we solve all of this is just keep going. You just keep practicing meditation. You just keep going. You keep living with as much integrity as possible, and you keep following the path. And that's really all there is to it, from the beginning levels of the path all the way up to being an advanced practitioner. So that's all I have for today. If you need help with your meditation practice, please feel free to email me or book a one-on-one session. Thank you for your practice, and I will see you guys in the next video.